What's up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to this sort of DFW lore / backstory video. So as you can see, I'm getting ready to film the draft, so I thought I'd just fill you in on some history of DFW. So I'm starting this PIC-FED sort of now, March 2023. My last one was probably sometime in 2020 and that one lasted one single episode of Raw. Before that, I was STS Wrestling Live. I had a couple PIC-FEDs. They didn't last very long because I give myself too many time limits. So I wanted to get an episode out every Monday and Friday. But when I fell behind, I added it to the tally and thought, yeah, now I've got to do another episode and another episode and another episode. And I just got more behind and less motivated to do it. But this time I'm not going to set myself any time constraints or time limits or anything like that. I'm going to run it a bit like My Damn Toys did. So just whenever the episodes are ready, they'll come out. I'll do other videos in between them if I've got videos to post. But yeah, when they're ready to come out, they'll come out. I think there'll be like 3 or 4 episodes of Raw and SmackDown in between each pay-per-view. And yeah, that's about it for that. Here we have the chairman of DFW, Vince McMahon. He's obviously the top authority figure. And then we have John Laurinaitis of Raw and Paul Heyman on SmackDown as the general managers. Here's the titles. John Laurinaitis has went with the sort of current belts, with like the tag title belts, but with the black strap. The current United States Championship, the Cruiserweight Classic medal. I don't know when I'll reveal that title, either in the draft video or when the winner wins it. When the winner wins it, obviously. And there is the DFW Championship. Now, these are subject to change, but the DFW Championship will never change. I promise you that. It's the most prestigious prize in DFW. On to Paul Heyman. He was chosen, obviously, because, you know, everyone thinks he'd be a good GM. He was SmackDown general manager in like one of his best times back in 2002. So he went with that sort of era of titles, the SmackDown tag titles, the IC Championship and the World Heavyweight title, sort of all from that Ruthless Aggression era. There's also the second mid-card title in there, will be revealed. So they've got one title that you've got to see on the draft video or maybe the first episode or whatever it will be. So a little bit of backstory and a bit of kayfabe to this, just because I thought I'd include it. Vince McMahon is in charge of DFW. All the biggest wrestlers in the world have came to DFW. And in my sort of story of it, it's like Vince McMahon was kicked out of WWE. He sold the company, he got all this money and he started up DFW, this new startup. And with all this money, he bought out all the contracts. He's got all the big names you can think of, and that's why they're all here. It's just a bit of kayfabe for you. Also in kayfabe, all these crowd members, just pretend it's like Halloween all year round. So like this group of Undertakers, that's not Undertaker. That's like a group of mates at a stag do or something. I guess you could say these are the real people, but yeah, I'm not sure. So I am pretty sure I've covered everything I wanted to cover there. On to some wrestlers for like some different sort of stuff I wanted to add in. So these two Drew McIntyres, they look very different obviously. This is him about 10 years apart, which sort of comes into this Randy here, this Elite 67 Randy, and this SummerSlam Randy. Obviously they're very different, but they're the same person. So if one week Randy looks like this, and by the next week he's fully tattooed up, don't be surprised. I probably just want to switch the attire. The tattoos aren't going to be linear at all. Like I can't be bothered torso swapping them for that. And like same with skin tones. I mean, I was going to try and do a custom of this, like mix, like swap the whole body of this onto the white base. I might still try that, but like skin tones and stuff, they're not going to be the same as they are in real life. People can change very quickly, haircuts and stuff. But yeah, that's the first thing. On to the second thing. Have Edge here and Sami Zayn, right? So this is about sort of storylines I'm going to include. So Sami Zayn, even if in real life they've just announced the tag team match and he's back with Kevin Owens and he's going to be fighting the Usos at WrestleMania, in my PIC-FED he might still be in the bloodline. And like Edge, even if he feuded with Randy, he might be in Rated RKO. So basically, storylines from real life don't matter necessarily. If I include them, then they do, obviously. If I don't include them, don't just assume that they haven't happened, like they might happen, but if I don't mention them, they're not relevant to the story. Obviously, there's some storylines that I'm just like going to not including, like Eddie Guerrero, for example, him dying, Umaga, other guys like Brody Lee, legends like Ultimate Warrior. I will be including deceased, dead people in the Fed. Maybe not as much, because I feel like if I have them lose, I'll feel bad because they're dead. If I have them win, I'll feel like, oh, I've just done that because then they're dead, so I've given them the win for that. Same with like controversial people. So we've got Jack Gallagher here, Velveteen Dream, you know, all the people that were sort of outed in that big situation a couple of years ago. I'll probably use them a bit more sparingly. Spoiler alert, they're not going to be winning world titles or anything. If they're in the Fed, most likely they'll be jobbers, filling in tournaments, filling in roster spots, just like padding out the roster a bit. Other controversial people, obviously Chris Benoit, he's not going to be in it, I don't think. Obviously there's no Mattel figures or anything of him. I don't think I would get a custom of him. Maybe I will in the future, I don't know, but I doubt he'll be included. Other controversial people like Austin Aries and that, like they might be in it, but again, they probably won't be winning much. As I mentioned, Ultimate Warrior, legends, they're in the Fed. They might not be like constantly signed to a specific roster, they might not be drafted, but they'll definitely be like free agents where they can do like move between, like Undertaker when he just showed up at WrestleMania, he could just move between rosters if and when he pleased. But yeah, that's how that's going to be running. And it's sort of like everyone's in their prime, you know, so just because Stone Cold's, like in his 50s or 60s now, that doesn't mean he's going to be terrible and can't work in the PIC-FED. He's in his prime. Same with most guys, like jobbers in real life, like Kurt Hawkins. If he's included in the Fed, I might not necessarily have him as a jobber just because he's a jobber in real life. He still has credibility in the Fed, I could say. Like if I want to build up a guy, if as a jobber to like a champion, I can do that because, you know, it's my Fed at the end of the day. So guys like that can be more than what they are, sort of. Yeah, that's about everything I think I wanted to include in this video. Just a bit of backstory, so if you're, you know, in the future, if anyone's wondering how certain things works in the Fed, you should be able to use this video as a template or guide to it. So yeah, general managers and the champions have been decided. The rosters are mostly done. I will get to the draft video very soon. So thanks for watching, guys. Definitely stay tuned for that one, and I'll see you in the next one.